to another episode of REDtalks.live. This is episode 41, coming to you on the last day of 2018. I did record a 2018 in review a couple of days ago. I thought that would be the last episode, but I last night did a little bit of work and thought, what the hell? I'm gonna share something that I updated. So I've talked about Big Stats a lot, a telemetry exporter, an open source telemetry exporter for F5's Big IP application services platform. We recently released Big Stats version 0.5, which in addition to an updated object model that it exports, it's also got Ssl statistics as well. So it made sense that I then did an update to the Big Stats dashboard in Grafana that provides beautiful visualizations. Easy for me to say. So you'll notice now that there's two revisions of the Grafana dashboard. We have revision 1, which supports Big Stats version 0.4.1 or earlier, and revision 2, as it says right here, which supports Big Stats 0.5.1 and later. So what does this mean? Well, I'm going to show you how to quickly get beautiful visualizations that Grafana does so well from your Big IP in some very simple steps. So what I have running, a quick show what's going on here. I have a Big IP version 13.1.1 running in AWS, and I have a Docker CE running, and I've installed Docker Compose and Git. That is all that's on this machine here. Just before recording, I did a Git clone. You can see this Docker Compose. I'm going to cd into that directory, and because of the Docker Compose in there, where is Docker? Sorry, can't type right now. Can't type and talk at the same time. Okay, this is just spinning up a Graphite time series database with statsd as its collector, and then Grafana as well. So two separate containers are going to get spun up on this Docker host. So all you need to do if you clone this Big Stats Grafana Compose repo, which exists here in F5 Dev Central on GitHub, github.com F5 Dev Central, and I'm just going to type Big Stats. You'll see there's Big Stats, the exporter, and here's the dashboard. Oh, sorry, that down here is the Grafana Compose. This is the dashboard, which you don't need to install because this comes with the Grafana Compose install. So this one down here is the one you want. If you git clone this onto a machine running Docker with Docker Compose installed, I'm now going to run this for you. Docker Compose up -d, and there we go. Grafana is running, Graphite DB is running, and statsd as its ingress. So with those set up, the other thing that I have up and running, let me quickly fire up Postman. I've installed Big Stats. It's just an RPM that you install onto your Big IP. And here we are in the settings for Postman. And I'm going to tell it the destination is statsd. It's currently not enabled, so let's enable that. Debug is off. And just before we set this running, I'll quickly show you the other Big Stats in here. That's this Big Stats. This is the RPM you install on your Big IP. Loads of instructions and installation. Couples nicely with the GitHub webhook server we released, which just gives you configuration as code. So with this RPM installed on my Big IP, and then I've cloned this Compose file onto my Linux box, which allowed me to just do a Docker Compose up to get all the containers up and running. And then I'll show you the last step, which is importing the dashboard. So this is up and running. We'll go and look at that now. So 172.202, I believe is what it said. This is Graphite DB. So this is a brand new container, just created, didn't exist before. It's literally just got its own statsd data in it. And then let's go to Grafana, which is on port 3000. I'm going to log in. proving it's a first time run because it's asking for me to create a new password. Okay. It's already got the data source configured. That's all part of the Docker Compose build, so you don't have to do that. The only thing you have to do is import the new dashboard. We'll get to that in a second. So let's start Big Stats sending telemetry. So we're going to hit send. It's come back and confirmed it has the settings. Fantastic. So now every 10 seconds, it's going to walk through and grab all the VIP. So the ingress stats, TCP stats, the pull member TCP stats, and also the SSL stats. And it's going to start pushing them to the stats D collector running on that Graphite database container. So we've given it a second to run, hopefully enough seconds. If I refresh, stats gauges, oh, now we have device, and that's my big IP running in AWS. So that's kind of useful. Global is like CPUs and RAM gets put in there. And then we've got the tenants. It's already discovered there's a bunch of tenants on this box. And then under the tenants is services. We got some port 80 VIP here, which has a pool and some TCP stats. So that's all nice and useful. Now let's go to the final step, which is the Grafana dashboard. We're just going to do an import. And I love this about Grafana. You literally just tell it 7958 and it will, oh look, it's already gone and found it on grafana.com, dashboard for BIP. Excellent. Let's just do a straight up import. And look at that. This is the CPUs. So I have CPU 0 and CPU 1 because it's a big IP virtual edition running in AWS with 2 CPUs. And over here you can see 8 GB RAM in this machine. So the utilization's pretty low right now. Scrolling down, there's no traffic in this one obviously, but these are all the VIPs that it has discovered. So you'll see the tenant and then the VIP IP and port and then the metric it's showing. Client-side bits in, client-side bits out. So current connections, maximum connections, all in this chart. And then down here, we have the pool members for each one. And then over here, we have the SSL stats. So you can see only one of my VIPs has SSL on it, and here's all the metrics we collect on SSL decryption on the big IP proxy. Now that's a lot of data, especially if you have a lot of big IPs. In my little demonstration here, there was only one big IP. Let me do a refresh and just see what we're up to now. But what happens if you have like loads of them? I mean, here we've got our one with services, and then we've got 443. Port 80 there's just that's doing a redirect to 443. Then I got my pool members, and then there's a lot of data here, even with just one big IP. But if I put big stats on 10 big IPs, or 50, or 100, or 1,000, well, Graphite DB is going to have a lot of data. So we allow filtering. So up here, big IPs, in my environment I have one, but I can narrow it down to just show me this one. I can then go down and say, you know what, I just want to see tenant 2 because that app is interesting to me right now. And you know what, after that I'm going to narrow it down. I just want to see the port 443 stuff on that one. Let's just collapse the device level stats and look at the services. And you'll see now I've only actually got a couple of metrics showing. And all the pool members, I've only got one set of pool members. I can drill down even further and say, you know what, just show me this pool. Coincidentally, right now I have just one pool, but that list would show all of the pools it was able to discover on all of my big IPs. So this filtering is just crazy cool. It's like one of my favorite features of being able to dynamically show what's interesting to me in these graphs. And I can drill down, I can click on this and actually say, you know what, just show me what's going on with SSL. So we get a full screen kind of chart now. I might do another version later date with some data traveling through this. It'll be a little more interesting that way. Anyway, that's the update for the Grafana dashboard. This is revision 2, which supports Big Stats 0.5.1 and newer. You'll be seeing more telemetry coming out, but yeah, the crypto stuff was the addition this time. Hope that's useful to you. Thanks for listening.